Hello everyone, welcome back. It's Space Engineers Plus Me, episode 93. I'm Enigmas, and today we're looking at our minor borehead configuration. We've been working on this for a couple of days now, and we finally got something that moves to show for our efforts. It's not quite properly tuned, and it's certainly not complete, but we're getting closer with every step. Now, we're looking at it from the point of view of the control seat that's in the middle of the frame that's holding this whole thing up while it spins and rotates around. We're actually going to exit the seat here and take a look closer because we have to do a bit of an inspection. We're going to show you why momentarily. For some reason it turned off all of my stuff. There we go. Turned off the jetpack and the dampeners and the lights. So the last episode we were looking at basically what amounted to the impact of vibration on these various different structures that we do, specifically in this case involving the rotors that are allowing this whole thing to turn and kind of do interesting things seemingly on their own. You can see we've got a rotor in there, we've got a rotor down there and down there. In fact, the whole pattern, the whole shape of these beams has been duplicated down through the tiers, and then we've started to fill out the beams with the drills on them, but we have to get the trash sorting taken care of before we can enclose the whole thing. And it's mostly kind of turning in the way that I had hoped, and the way that it's turning is essentially we've got the rotors turned on, but they aren't creating any torque of their own. They're just basically free spinning, and then we use gyros like these guys down here with the yaw setting set to override, and then we adjust the value depending on how fast or how slow we want the whole thing to rotate. And the reason why I do this, and I've done this with a lot of builds, anything that involves rotating boreheads, is because I found if you use the engine or the motor, so to speak, built into the rotor, it seemed to me a little bit more prone to accidents. It's not to say that using loose rotors with gyros doing all the work to make it turn is accident proof, not by any stretch of the imagination, but you get the idea, is that we're using the rotor basically as a swivel, nothing more, and then the gyros themselves are providing the turning force. Additionally, I've got some extra gyros in place. You can see these in the back of each beam, or I guess more in the middle, I guess you could say. They're currently turned off, and these are to provide stability. They're basically gyros placed and left the default values so that when we're moving the ship, as this will eventually be, and we don't want these things to be flopping around, we can theoretically have the gyros that are making the motion turned off and the ones providing stability turned on. Don't necessarily want them both turned on at the same time. They kind of make things work against each other. One of the things that I've noticed, in case you're going to try and duplicate a tiered setup like this where we've got a rotor to a pair of rotors, is that we've got this big plus-shaped arm in the middle, and it's rotating basically clockwise. If we were to look at it from the top down, we would see that it's basically rotating in a clockwise direction. If you were to then set the gyros in these second-tier beams to rotate in a clockwise direction as well, they wouldn't actually move. And I'm guessing somehow the rotors on these guys are making this guy turn, and then the ones on the beam below are saying we're already turning in that direction, so why bother? They don't move, so they have to be set to the opposite direction, and then the ones below that have to be set to the opposite direction again. So we've got one moving clockwise, the one directly below it is moving counterclockwise, and then the ones directly below that are moving clockwise again. Now you can see it seems like this guy is spinning faster than this guy. I just made some changes to this whole setup that will hopefully be properly reflected the next time we reload the game. One of the things that I had originally hoped was to have these pairs of boreheads rotating opposite to one another. Based on what I just described, that's not possible. One will move and the other will not. So we've got them all trying to spin clockwise, and with that in mind, I also have to reorient the drills on this one here, and I think this guy here, just so that they're on the right side of the beam and everything is lined up the way that I wanted it to be. So we're making good progress in terms of the size, the movement, and the stability, although this isn't going to be a long episode, but we are going to take a look at what happens when we try and stop it, because we get back into the why the hell is there so much vibration sort of system. So we're going to come down here, we're going to hop into the control seat. And we're going to adjust our view a little bit so that we can see as much as possible of what's going on. And then we're going to hit the timer block that's going to turn off the gyros that are causing things to spin. They're going to turn on the gyros that will improve the stability of them. And they're going to turn off all of the rotors, which are then set to produce the maximum braking force to bring this whole thing to a stop, to stop it from moving. So it should happen in the blink of an eye. I mean, it's noisy, it's terrifying. Look at how fast they start to spin. They just they get stuck in that spot where the beams are overlapping, and that causes the vibration. And then when they escape that vibration, everything just starts spinning. And it will literally sit here and just do that over and over and over again. If you're unlucky, it'll do it for minutes at a time. This is where we kind of look at it and say, is this thing going to be stable enough to put our hopes on actually being able to extract ore with it without having to come down and be within spitting distance of the damn thing to do regular maintenance on it? Or is it just all bluster and bullshit and it's not really doing any damage? It's just doing its best to make as much noise as possible and to terrify us. It could be one or the other. I've done a few of these now where I've tested it, and when I turned it off, it started doing the whole crazy vibration thing. And I was mostly satisfied that that's the kind of thing that it was going to do, and not at all enthusiastic about taking the tour around and finding where all of the damage is, until I did the tour around and found that there is no damage. Nothing is deformed. Nothing is misbehaving. You can see down here, the rotor doesn't need any repairs. The blocks around the rotor doesn't need any repairs. The blocks above. This was not the case when it was a flimsier structure that we were dealing with. Ever since we made it 3 wide, things seem to hold together a little bit better in the early vibration. Oh, look, here we go, making a liar out of me. So it's easier to see exactly what the damage is if you get in close, weld it all up, and then you can see what can't be welded or what can't be recovered by welding. And that's the easiest way to assess the damage. We'll get in here, make sure the rotor itself is fine, because, I mean, if the rotor fails, the whole thing falls off. Is it going to start vibrating again? Look at this. We almost smushed a gyro. Now, the dangerous thing is that when you're welding or repairing blocks, they create their own vibration when you place them. Look at those guys. That's the vibration from what we were doing over here has translated all the way across the beam to what's going on over there. Are you done? I don't think it's done. I think it's just lining up for another. Yep. There it is. Please don't explode. I don't want to have to rebuild all this stuff. It's getting to the point now where I have to start making blueprints for my ships at the end of every session, because I don't know if they're going to survive the load-in process when the whole game initializes and figures out what's going on. Just from welding. I mean, this is how we get this almost urban legend sort of thing of rotors exploding for no reason. It's not for no reason, it's the damn vibration. And when the vibration starts all the way over here, goes up a bunch of rotors, across a bunch of beams, and then down into that crap over there, it sure as hell looks like it's random and for no reason, doesn't it? Quit it. You guys over there. What did I just say? You'll notice there's nothing going on over here. There's no vibration, there's no shaking, there's nothing. These guys over here were just fine as well until we started welding the blocks that were damaged. And then all of a sudden... Stop moving. You're supposed to have the brakes on anyways. I think we're going to have to come up with a better way to stop these guys from moving, because otherwise we could be in a lot of trouble. So we found some spots over here that prove to us that it's not a completely damageless system now. Check around up here. Seems to be okay. Now we go over here to the danger zone. I gotta give the sound guys credit for doing the sound effects for this, because it is quite the creepy sort of sound when things are vibrating and you don't know if they're actually going to survive. It's the same with when you're flying around in space and the noise from the gyros is all that you hear. It's a very space-like creepy sound. But once you know what it's from, it's like, oh, that's kind of cool. So it looks like we're okay. If we've sustained any damage... I had to say it, didn't I? Just had to open my big fat mouth. Oh look, there's more. Anything else? Oh, we got some stuff over there. How far away are we getting? We're not getting a lot of spread on the debris. It's seems to be mostly contained to the area of operation here. There's a lot of moving parts, and it sounds like some stuff is still vibrating and trying to break into pieces. Wow. I mean, thankfully, we do have a backup save that we can use to recover all this stuff. Look at the craters that I left. This guy was this close to snapping in half. Got a few bits over there. Compared to the Mantis, when the Mantis went supernova, that was way worse than this. So we're doing all right in terms of the damage, the blast area. But this is unrecoverable. There's no way that we can repair this and get it onto a working ship, because the working ship is attached up there. And this is in just too many pieces. So we're going to reload from one of our backup saves, and we're going to continue. We're going to do what we can to get the most out of this guy. And I've got some ideas what we're going to do now that we've got most of the structure set up for the beams and the drills. And then once we start it moving, we just won't stop it. I guess there's nothing more that I can think of to do. Yeah, so the next video you'll see the progress. There will be progress done on the chassis and the other functional areas of the ship, because we're just about done this now. And then we'll get it all done. We'll put it into service. We'll see if it works. If it doesn't, fine. If it does, great. We'll have learned some things about rotors and vibrations and what they like to do to our ships for reasons that we don't always understand. If you want to be notified about the next episode, you can subscribe to my channel or follow me on social media. Links for social media are always in the information box below the video. Feel free to leave your comments and feedback. Thanks for watching, guys, and take care.